good morning to you, ladies and gentlemen from the media. Thank you for coming to this press conference and thus showing the interest in the work and activities of the European Union Election Observation Mission to Uganda. First of all, I would like to emphasize our full support for Ugandans who are facing a very important moment in the history of the country. Since my arrival in Kampala, which was yesterday, I have met with a wide range of interlocutors, including the Electoral Commission, and we have discussed the importance of transparency and inclusiveness of the electoral process. Concerns have been brought to us regarding potential election violence, equal access of candidates to the media, and the accuracy of the voter register. But let me give you information on the mission, the composition of it, the task which we are going to fulfill during the next weeks here in Uganda. In response to an invitation of the Ugandan authorities, we are here to observe whether all parties and candidates can participate fully and freely in the campaign, respecting the rights and freedoms associated with open, transparent, and genuinely competitive elections, so that the voters can make an informed decision on election day. In addition to an impartial assessment of the elections, our report will offer technical recommendations for future elections. In the last decade, the European Union has deployed about 150 election observation missions. These missions do not certify the election result. They assess the degree of compliance of the electoral process with international and regional commitments and national laws. The objective of EU Election Observation Mission is to support the democratic process in partner countries. Let me mention the mandate of the mission. It is to observe all aspects of the electoral process prior to, during, and after the polling, which entails the legal framework and its implementation, the performance of the election administration, the role of state institutions and civil society, the conduct of the media and the coverage by state media, voter registration and candidate registration, campaign activities of the candidates and political parties, election day observation, that means voting, counting, and tabulation of votes. And the last one, electoral complaints, appeals, and resolutions. Now, concerning the composition and structure of the EU EOM mission to Uganda, there will be 120 observers in total. There are 10 core team members, which are in the country since December 28 last year. There are, in addition to the team, a campaign finance analyst and a data analyst to establish a random sampling of polling stations to be observed on election day. These two activities are the new things which were included into the observation missions. Core team members are from 9 countries: Slovakia, Germany, Italy, Slovenia, Latvia, UK, France, Sweden, and Spain. And they are core team analysts. You were introduced, the Deputy Chief Observer, Mr. Gabriel, was introduced. Then we have elections analyst, political analyst, legal, human rights and gender issues analyst, campaign finance analyst, media analyst, and data analyst. So this is very analytic mission, as you can see. And I want to say that really I have the colleagues who are highly competent, and they have all professional skills to perform very good work and results, and I fully rely on them. Now there are 30 long-term observers in the country since 9th of January. They are deployed all over the country. They are from 25 countries plus Norway, which is not an EU member state. So they are deployed across the country based in 15 locations: Kampala, Mityana, Masaka, Mbarara, Kabale, Fort Portal, Masindi, Arua, Gulu, Lira, Soroti, Moroto, Mbale, and Jinja. Short-term observers, there will be over 80 of them, 54 coming from EU and approximately 30 locally recruited short-term observers from the EU diplomatic community to observer polling and counting. And also the delegation of the European Parliament should be coming. So far it was not decided who from my colleagues, members of the Parliament, are going to be coming, but there will be definitely a delegation from the members of the European Parliament. Now I want to say that we are no strangers or newcomers to this country. There were two previous election observation missions for the elections in the year 2006 and for the year 2011. After these technical details, let me also make a couple of remarks concerning the different aspects of the monitoring so far and on which issues we are going to concentrate our work. Short remarks. On political issues, concerns have been brought to us regarding potential violence, election violence, equal access of candidates to media, and the accuracy of the voter register. On legal issues, we regret that only few recommendations from the previous elections and from the previous report have been implemented. The recommendations provided by EOMs identify areas where international standards and/or best practices for democratic elections have not been met, and these recommendations suggest solutions to improve the electoral framework. They also can serve to identify areas for possible EU-supported technical assistance. The EU is looking at a thorough follow-up to the EOM recommendations and considers this as a sign of possible and continuous engagement with the partner country. On electoral issues, we are aware that the voter register has been compiled from the newly created National Identification Registry. We will closely observe and assess the accuracy, the completeness, and the currency of the voter register. On campaign finance, We will also be assessing if the campaign finance data is transparent and accessible to the public. This includes names of the largest donors, amounts of donations, total amount of all the donations collected, and expenses of election campaigns. Campaign finance rules should enable different candidates and parties to run campaigns which can reach most of the voters. This is often done by setting a spending limit, by financial support from the state budget, or by giving free airtime to parties and candidates. Now, on media monitoring. The mission has commenced media monitoring of 14 media outlets. They comprise 4 TV stations, 4 radio stations, and 2 newspapers at the national level, and 4 regional radio stations. The focus is on public and state co-owned media, since broadcast media have a particular obligation to provide the public with impartial, inclusive, and objective information. We will also monitor if all presidential and parliamentary candidates have equal access to media, including local radio stations. Monitoring has just started, and the data sample does not provide for a comprehensive assessment yet. Now, to end my introductory remarks, I will mention briefly my program yesterday. Since my arrival, I have met with several interlocutors, electoral commissioner, with whom we discussed the importance of transparency in the electoral process, then civil society organizations, which are very vibrant and involved in the electoral process, and that's good. I also met the Prime Minister, with whom we talked about peaceful elections. Ladies and gentlemen, these are my introductory remarks.